Hi, I'm Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and this is my review of Graveyard Keeper. What do you get when you mix the idea of business management and DIY mortician? Well, apparently, according to Tiny Build Games, is a game called Graveyard Keeper. It's a dash of Stardew Valley, some dream job from the undead. Graveyard Keeper is on PC and Xbox One. Let's see how it did, shall we? When I first saw the concept of Stardew Valley, it reignited my love of pixel games and got me into the idea of farming across dating simulator. Graveyard Keeper changes this formula by making you look after a graveyard and crafting for all the dead bodies that gets shipped to you by a donkey who seems to have been possessed by Karl Marx. To top this off, you are taking orders from a magical talking skull who is a hardcore alcoholic. All this in the first 20 minutes of playing. Graphically, it's a nice, detailed world that shows many of the games that are similar in this style. But one of the things that sticks out as one of its best features graphically is the layering. Here, the different environmental layers are fantastic, giving an impression of quite realistically, of fog, rain, and even lighting. It gives over the feel of a really gritty world with its morbid death. The game is very pretty. Sound-wise, the game does an outstanding job with a lovely squelching sound for slimes when they're being killed or making items. And unlike some games like this, there's a good separation of the different sounds, so they're not lost in the whole gambit of when one sound after another is happening on top of each other. The voice for this game has been replaced with sounds, much like the old games of yore, such as Banjo-Kazooie, and even the most recent one of the 3D platformers, what is that game? Damn, I've forgotten it now. It'll come to me. Ukulele. Where it's an annoying noise, and in this game, no, it's not an annoying noise. Actually, in this game, they've replaced it with a much different sound to represent each of the characters and NPCs differently. So when you're talking to other people, you sound like you're writing down on a notebook, and the bishop has a kind of a flute-like sound almost when he's talking because he's all pompous and everything. And that's how all the voices are. I love it, and it's not grating, which is probably one of the best things about it. Music-wise, it's nothing to write home about, but at the same time, it feels good. Like, the music sort of represents things when you move from one place to another. Like, you go to the town and it's kind of almost a jaunty sound. Or when you go to the graveyard, it gets kind of morbid and down and eerie and all sorts of things like that. So music is not the most memorable music track, but at the same time it sounds not too bad. Now, gameplay wise, you basically craft, collect items, do quests, and as the game suggests, deal with dead bodies. The main idea of the game is the graveyard, but there is so much more. It's not just that, because one of the things that has to be sort of credited in this game to give you this sort of open scope, much like Stardew Valley, much like a whole lot of other games, even Minecraft for that fact, is that the skill tree is yours to deal with. Like, there are certain main areas that are unlocked as you go through the game and progress the story, but the skill tree itself is opened up by your choices and how much you choose to do actions. Like, if you remember back in the old days when Skyrim and Oblivion came out and everything, that you had to do things continuously until you had enough points to do particular skills. Well, it's similar to this, not as extreme, But you have to go out, you have to do physical labour, you have to go do gardening, you have to do research items. These three, the mind, spirit and body sort of thing. You have to do these three things in order to progress part of the story, because you need to get enough points to unlock items contained within the skill tree, and that is the only way you can do it. And you have the choice of opening up those skill trees at any time in any way, shape or form you see fit, which is really quite an interesting thing. So as you're collecting items, as you're crafting items, as you're researching items, as you're getting things, you're building up your character the way you want to play, and that is probably the best thing about this. And the most other important thing about this game is that there are various places that are separate from each other that you can only build in those areas specific items for it. Like in the church, you can only build research and alchemic items. At your home, you can only build things that you use for crafting. Then there's a garden, then there's an apiary. That's doing bees, by the way, if you're not aware of what an apiary is all about. Beekeeping and everything like that. And all sorts of other things like that. And really, that in itself is where this game sort of shines in. It's so addictive and enjoyable. So now we come down to the cut. So where does this game belong? It's addictive, it's an interesting story, it's inventive skill system, and it's damn cheap. I think at the moment it is $14.99 on Steam in US dollars, and it is a really, really good time sink sort of game that you can play, come back, play, come back, go to sleep, saves the game, come back. It's all that same sort of thing in Stardew Valley, and this game is just like that in many respects. It's enjoyable, it gives you that feeling that you want to play this game, and I think that's one thing that we don't get enough of in a lot of these games. We don't get enough interesting games that allow you to just play the game and enjoy the world and play the world as you see fit. And a lot of these open games are starting to get like that. Portal Knight, Stardew Valley, new one that's coming out from Double Fine Games, I think it's called Obelix or something like that. Even Statrix or Stellar, where you're in a Minecraft world and whatnot. It is where games are going. People want a game where they have a storyline, but they have their own story to forge in the game. And I think many people need to look at games and understand that this is what people want. They enjoy these kind of games. So this is me from Astral Dragon Gaming. I hope you've enjoyed. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button, because I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or the bad thing until I see that like button. I go, yes, I did it. But other than that, the button's just there. So thank you very much, and I will speak to you next time.
I